All right, how's it going tonight? So, Dr. Dawn Hughes and George Kaplan. I had to say that while it was fresh in my mind because I had forgotten I had to stop the video just to start a new one and talk about these people that had testified at day 8 of this Diddy RICO trial. Okay, I thought I'd end the night of talking about this day 8 recap. Okay, and tomorrow they're supposed to have KK is one of Diddy's assistants, and then Kid Cudi's supposed to report tomorrow. So just a couple of things that I think that this is an informative video, so you can see how the FBI works or how they're able to put together these RICO cases, or how they're able to put together these cases in general, where they take a lot of time and resources to build up a case, you know, piece by piece, and they could build up a 10-foot wall by layers and pull it over the top of a suspect and things like that. Okay, and this is the reason why you have a high conviction rate, like 97%, things like that, and even with a lawyer you have a 92%. So it's very, very hard to beat an FBI case. So let's begin. So Dr. Dawn Hughes, and I'm not really going to get into all the questionnaires and things like that, because let's just face it, if you guys have really been studying like Kabbalism and things like that, Diddy is a Satanist. Okay, that he does a lot of that type of sedated stuff, BDSM and things like that at these parties, because they are ritualistic. Okay, I was listening to Gene Deal was talking about a ceremony that he did where he threw a white dove with no wings up, whatever. Okay, and the doggone dove had landed on the ground and died. Okay, something to that effect. Okay, it's supposed to have been a ritual. It's supposed to have been done in the Bible, mocking God. Anyway, Dawn Hughes was asked about these certain questions about the mind state of Diddy, why he did the things that he did, put his hands on women, force, coerce, things like that, the nature of his mind where they're doing these freak offs and stuff like that. Okay, and it seemed like she just answered it, but she just kind of like danced around it and things like that. Okay, furthermore, again, about why the prosecution and the defense would ask why would a person be willing to stay after that type of twisted behavior and abuse. Okay, and I think that she answered the questions, but I really couldn't understand what she was talking about, or why, you know, I couldn't really give a clear understanding. Okay, so I'm giving you my own synopsis of it. Okay, of the girl Cassie, for example, his 10-year girlfriend at the time, had loved Diddy so much and didn't want to leave. Okay, and she put up with it, with Diddy's what do you call it, satanic behavior, you know, the abuse, the, you know, twisted mind state, the sedated mind state that he had during the parties and things like that. Okay, some type of androgynous rituals and things like that would be in men and women at the party. So she went through it so much because she loved him, and I think she got into a lot of stuff that she didn't understand. Now I'm gonna say that Cassie was not totally innocent. Okay, but I think she just loves hard, or loved hard, and, you know, got to a point that she was taking abuse. All right, so after a while, probably both of them, you know, went batshit. But Diddy was already like that, but he groomed her into that type of mind state when she was young. So, you know, that's probably at a certain point the way the twisted mind state. Okay? But yeah, Dr. Hughes was kind of like asked the profile of Diddy and the stuff that he did and why the stuff, you know, he was doing the things that he had did, and somebody had trained him. Okay, they had to show him, so he's, you know, he wasn't the only one. So that, and then let me see here, Bryan Caplan. This guy was a surprise witness, a bad boy employee, and he did like office work and things like that. And this guy had pretty much buried Diddy. He put a lot of stuff out that were really damning. Okay, both of them did. But let's see, Mr. Caplan basically talked about, you know, his tenure there at Bad Boy from 2013 to 2015, where again, he did do a lot of office work. A lot of his duties were, you know, doing things like keeping the office clean and things like that, having it set up in a certain type of way or whatever duties that runs that Diddy had him to do. But he talked about a lot of the parties that him and there was a couple of other workers and things like that, okay, that had to get set up, and Diddy wanted these things a certain way with the parties. Now, last night I mentioned, or if I didn't say it last night, I'm gonna say it tonight, where Diddy's house was raided, okay, back in March, and they found weapons with serial numbers marked off of them, DRGSs and different types of substances or whatever. A lot of those substances were found in bottles, baby oil, you know, Astroglide and that type of things, and high heels and that type of stuff. Okay, well, the way they're gonna tie this in this RICO case is a lot of this stuff was kind of used like whore bags, to where it probably, if they had like a small freak off, a lot of this stuff was pretty much used. This goes into Bryan Caplan, where he helped set up a lot of those doggone parties, you know, a certain way with the bottles, the high heels, probably for the workers that were coming in, you know, substances and that type of stuff readily available, okay, or if they needed to put those in the drinks and liquor and so forth, okay, that this is all being tied into the distribution, the transporting across state lines, okay, because he mentioned that, all right, these weapons and things like that, okay. What else did I mention? The baby oil, that's if there was any substance, because some of those substances were found in those drinks and all that at the doggone parties, okay. But he signed an immunity act because there were certain things that he couldn't answer, and if he didn't sign it, then he was going to face some major time. All right, initially there were certain things that he wouldn't do, but he got subpoenaed to answer everything else, which I just told you about and all that, okay. And once again, that the guy was crying and all that. He really didn't want to go, but he had to go because he was subpoenaed. So, you know, he would have ended up getting charged for contempt of court. I mean, this really, really looks bad on Diddy. And then this KK girl was mentioned. So she could be another witness for, because she was another, what they call clerical employee of Diddy, okay, to confirm this type of stuff that is going to tie into this RICO case. So things are not looking good in Diddy's favor, but I think this is all done for a reason why he didn't take, once again, this plea deal and things like that, because I think part of the agenda is they want these guys to expose themselves, and it's only going to get worse, okay? So KK might go and testify tomorrow, and then Kid Cudi with the enterprise agreement. So that's the recap of day 8. Hope you guys have a good night or good morning. I have more content for you, okay, and other topics. Cash App $Winston Spivey if you want to donate.